Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of the Write Your Own Story podcast. I am your host, Betsy Leonidas, and I'm here with Sarah Trop, founder of Fun Cycle. Sarah, thank you so much for being here.
Betsy, thank you for having me. What a fun way to start the week. I'm really excited to get to know you more, and I already have loved our chat, so it's been fun.
This has been a blast. I have a case of the giggles because we've had such a Monday morning with tech issues. I have now introduced the podcast 3 times, 2 of which we're not recording. So if anyone is out there feeling like they are clumping their way through Monday, welcome to the party.
But you're doing it with grace, and that's what matters.
That's all that matters.
It's fine.
We're smiling. We're still doing it. We're still showing up. And that is, I feel like, is the key to life. You can either, my friend and I always say, you can laugh or cry. You get to choose.
Did she know that you just called me your best friend?
I'm going to have to tell her.
Hope she doesn't listen.
That's hilarious. Sarah, you have the coolest background. Okay, I'm going to read it because I did some research and I typed something fancy, and then we're going to get into the intention. We'll go from there.
Okay,
so
I'm ready.
Today, I am honored to introduce Sarah Trop, the award-winning interior designer, champion of HGTV Flea Market Flip, and founder of Fun Cycle, a sustainable design studio known for transforming historic homes and heirloom pieces into beautiful, purpose-driven spaces. Sarah's journey began with a simple side hustle of flipping furniture and evolved into a full-service design firm rooted in sustainability, emotional well-being, and faith. Her work is grounded in her relationship with her faith. She believes creativity is one of God's greatest gifts and that every space we design can reflect his peace, beauty, and purpose. Sarah, what a ride.
It's so beautiful. My head's going to be like, can it fit in the screen? Bring it down a little.
And we'll have to reframe. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Just an ordinary girl that's gotten to live some extraordinary experiences. That's what
truly. I was just reflecting on yesterday. Also, I love to go on tangents. So thank you for being as typey as you are.
I'm with it.
I was reflecting yesterday, like the difference between extraordinary and ordinary. Sometimes I feel like those words can be interchangeable because sometimes I just I think the key to happiness is finding the ordinary extraordinary.
Yeah. And it's in the ordinary moments that often usher in extraordinary experiences, I think. So
I agree wholeheartedly.
It's beautiful.
What I would love sort of the intention for today to be is what I love about your story is you felt so called and that you feel really, truly called from your faith, from the inside out to be creative and to have founded this business. So I want to encourage women who are feeling called to create something meaningful. And then, of course, we all get the voice and the wonder of is this going to compromise my family? Is this going to compromise my values, my time? To really lean into your trust, whether that be in your faith, whether that be in yourself, and to have the courage to take the leap and lean into your calling. So I think that lines so nicely with your story and is such an important message.
Yeah, that's very natural for me to talk about because it's the core of kind of why I started a business and why I stay in small business. Yeah.
I love this. I love this so much. Okay. Can we talk about sort of the progression really of you started in this side hustle. Can we talk about those side hustle days and what that was like and where do we get into the transformation of this as a full-fledged business?
Okay. So actually my story was a little less side hustle than it was just knowing I wanted to start my own thing. So when my kids were very little, not quite about 2 and 3, or not quite 2 and 3, I just hated going to a 9 to 5 every day and dropping them off and not being with them. And, every mom is different. I'm not saying that's every mom's story, but for me, I did not want to have them and not be with them more, especially in the young years, And so I felt like a piece of me was dying inside every time I went to work. And it wasn't even where they were was bad. My mom watched them a lot of the time. They were in great spaces and being well loved. And so it wasn't that. I just really was like, I'm not doing this life for money. That is not really why I'm driven. I'm driven to create beautiful space, like beautiful moments with my people. Like I just love being around my kids. So I was thinking about, it was 2012 and I really wanted to start something where I wasn't working 9 to 5. And at the time, my husband was running a restaurant. And so it required him to be, it was a bakery. So he was up really early. So we
Oh
went
my
to bed
gosh.
really early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they had to be there 3:30, I think, in the morning to start baking.
That's definitely the middle of the night in my book.
Right. And I had little tiny kids, so they went to bed really early. And I'm like, this isn't really a flow. Like, by the time I get home from work, I'm seeing everybody for an hour and a half,
Mm,
and that is not enough for me.
I agree. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I decided I wanted to start a company. I knew I wanted it to be fun, and I knew I wanted it to have upcycling as the core of why we were doing it.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's why I named it Fun Cycled,
Yeah.
and literally picked names with my little kids. Like my logo, my first logo was a bird. And I was like, guys, do you like this bird or this bird? And they picked the bird. And do you like
Cute.
this color or this color? And we picked the colors of the logos and everything together. And so it was really based in like this family decision that I would start something that would be flexible. So basically, I started working every single nap time that they had.
Yeah.
And at night, when my family all went to snuggled into bed, I would work from probably 8, 7:30, 8 to 11, sometimes 12, depend. I don't need a lot of sleep, thankfully. So I was
Uh,
able to do
lucky
kind of like
duck.
the, yeah, late
Yeah.
night shift, and it worked fine for me. And Fun Cycled started in the creativity of I love to paint. My husband loved building furniture. And even though we weren't building furniture at all at the beginning, I was just painting furniture. I knew that if it expanded over time, it could be something where he could use his skills of carpentry, right? So
Yeah.
January 2012, I started it. And then my goal was as soon as I make the same amount as I'm making in my job, I
Yeah.
can quit my job and go all in on this. And by April, I was. So
Oh my
I
God.
quit.
January to April?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I
I
didn't really dabble in it. It's not like I was doing it as a hobby for months, you know?
right.
I I literally I had almost no money. I don't even know if I had anything in savings. If I did, it was nominal. I mean,
Right.
next to nothing. So I would just get, I think the first one was an oak dresser and I got it for free alongside the road and I redid it. And I
Yep.
shared about how I redid it on our blog and tutorials. And then I put it up on Craigslist at the time, Facebook
Yeah.
Marketplace now.
Yeah.
Um, and sold it. And then I took the money from that and I bought two and did the same thing. And then I started getting custom orders and people wanting me to do their furniture for them. So kind of spiraled into that. But the real kicker was a year and a half later, I I was booked out 6 months for custom furniture. And I'm like, I just can't keep this pace. Like I am not getting enough sleep, and
Yeah.
this
Absolutely.
isn't why I started, as we can
Yep.
go into that more. But
Yep.
so my husband quit his job and we went all in together on it a year and a half after.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. I have a million questions.
Yep.
Um, So I love that, like, there's just putting on my entrepreneur hat for a minute. There's kind of two ways to jump, right? Like, we can either nest egg, like to your point, some savings and be like, okay, now I feel comfortable that I have something can float because you're so blessed that what you were profitable and making not only profitable, but making the amount that you were making in your 9 to 5 in 4 months. It takes a business an average of 2 to 5 years to become
Right.
profitable.
Yeah.
So like I love that that worked out for you. Or to your point, you can do it in sort of the nooks and crannies of life while you're waiting for your checks and balances or your thresholds to balance out. So for those who are thinking about how do I jump, where do I jump, those are kind of like two options to consider. And I love that you did that. When you had mentioned that you knew that you wanted your company to be around upcycling, like how did you get so clear on that?
Well, I would say we loved recycling before it was cool.
Love
We
it.
were the dorky family bringing like recycling home from Maine because Maine didn't recycle when I would visit my sister. I'm like, you don't recycle? Like, what state doesn't recycle? And
Right?
so we're like bringing things home. My husband would be like, wherever we are on vacation, he's collecting cans. And I'm like, John, this is so dorky. We don't even have room in our car. And he's like, it's fine. We're not throwing this away. So we really cared a lot about recycling even from the beginning. And I had thought about it being different things like jewelry made from recycled material or
Cool.
art made from recycled material. But the furniture just seemed to be where I felt the most fulfillment. It's so beautiful feeling like you take something that's out for trash and you make it an heirloom piece that someone wants to keep forever.
Absolutely. I think that sounds
So
incredible.
yeah, there's
Okay,
something fulfilling in that.
in those moments where you're like, okay, I don't want it to be upcycling, but to your point, it could be jewelry, it could be all sorts of things. Like, I think that's another place where women get really stuck. They're like, oh, I have like 5 ideas that I think are really fun. Do you have any
Yeah.
recommendations? Like, my thoughts are just like, you have to sit and be quiet and, give it time for your answer will bubble to the surface. But can you talk about your process of how you were like, no, I think this is really it?
Yeah, so I agree with you, but that wasn't my experience. So now a more mature me would say sit in the silence, because I would
Yeah.
say for business now, kind of praying and meditating, and the big pivots in our business have been in those moments where I've gotten real clarity.
Mm.
Back in the day when I was in my 20s, I would say I'm more just kind of, I tried each thing a little bit,
Yeah.
and I thought, what makes the highest profitability with the lowest transaction rate for me? Like
I
that's
love
kind of,
this.
yeah. And then I started doing it, and basically as soon as I tried, like when I tried the jewelry, when I tried the art, I was like, it's not like,
Mm.
I know I can't be doing this like sit at a desk little tiny jewelry making for long. So sometimes we talk about this a lot in some of my business groups that I've been a part of, where entrepreneurs always get stuck in the what could it be
Mm.
versus like let's just get our hands dirty. It will make itself clear whether it's something we actually enjoy, whether we're passionate about it, and whether anyone buys it. So before we become this perfectionistic mindset of like it has to be exactly this case in point, you know, example of we will make a ton, let's just give it a try. Like I just got something for free, put it on Facebook Marketplace. If it didn't sell and nothing I did sold, okay, then I probably don't have a good business model, right? So
Yeah.
to me, the fact that it sold right away at a good profit margin, you know, if I get it for free and sell it even for $100,
Right.
that's great for starting out, you know, where
Hmm.
I'd have to do 50 earrings to even get close to that, you know. So part of it is just being aware of what your gifts are and then not overthinking it and giving it a try. That's
I
what a lot of entrepreneurs
I am
need to hear.
obsessed with that. And I think like what a gift of an experience to be able to do something for a living that and I'm one of the common themes that I see on the show year after year is that the happiest and most successful people are using their natural gifts in an entrepreneurial way.
Yeah.
Whether it be the gift of gab and storytelling or whether it be, your ability to transform old into, a lifetime of memory.
Yeah.
Um, I think that women often get shy about what their gifts are and are and the visibility piece is kind of like I can't believe like maybe I love to redo furniture all around my house and I've had a friend or two be like I'm obsessed with that piece, can you make me a piece, but am I really gonna like tell the world about it? Zoinks. Did you
Yes.
ever experience anything like that where you were a little bit afraid to be seen, or were you ready to step into it?
I'm always afraid of change. Not so much now because I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years, but at the beginning, I hated everything. I still don't like change. I hate when people use the word seasons, like, oh, they're just here for a season. I'm like, no, people aren't seasons. They're
Yeah.
like, I love people strongly. They don't just come and go. Or,
Yeah.
like this business is just for a season. Like, I instinctively, most people think I'm a risk taker and I love it, but I don't. Like, I really have to work against that in my own heart.
Mm.
I definitely like steady Eddie and less of a risk and less of a challenge. But and I found that over the years, the more risk and more challenge I push myself into, the more reward I get. And so, for instance, I got asked to do something recently where I'm a host for this church event, and part of me is like, oh, it's just like they critique it, you have to go through all these different, it's not an easy role. It's like every
Yeah.
time you do it, it's on TV, it's all this stuff. And but I said yes to it because I'm like, this is how you get refined and this is how you become better. And you have to get used to becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. I say
Oh,
this to my kids all the time. If you can use the skill, learn the skill of pushing through something that's uncomfortable, you will be so much more ahead than anyone around you because you have become comfortable with being uncomfortable and you'll try so many different things and the world opens up so many opportunities once you're okay with that. And so even things like being on Flea Market Flip, I didn't want to apply to be on Flea Market Flip. Nothing about me wanted to be on there. A good friend of mine said, you need to be on Flea Market Flip. And I was like, no one gets on TV if they don't know someone. Like, that's not a thing. And she said, you just find a way to get your name to a producer about it. And so I Googled, I didn't even know if it was the right thing. It wasn't an application for it. It was just someone said, oh, I use this production company for Flea Market Flip in the past. And I emailed them. I didn't hear anything for 6 months. And then they emailed me back and they said, hey, we got your email. We think you should apply. Fill it out here. And that's how I got on the show. I didn't know anybody. It's not like I had a great connection, but I had a friend who said, you know, get out of your comfort zone and do something. And it was probably the best thing for our business to date was being on that show.
Okay, can we like obsessively talk about this experience?
Sure,
because
yeah.
I think that that sounds incredible. First of all, I love that story so much. Like they're really, I mean, it gives kind of like manifesty vibes, right? Just like you just put it out there and you wait for it to happen, which I mean, like that's a thing. And then, but I love the idea of like, just take a step and then just keep living your life. Like if you take a step with good intent and, you know, with good intent and with the right feelings and the right energy, and then good, you just, if it's meant to be, it will be kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
I totally so, agree. Okay. Tell us all about the experience. Was this like, you know, was it competitive? Was it like nerve wracking? Was it like, what do you remember from just being on it?
Yes, all the things. So it was really fun, very nerve wracking because I had never been on TV. Now that I've done it a few times, I'm much more comfortable where you look, how you pose the question. You know, every question has the answer in it because you can't hear producers asking you things. But at the time, it was such a learning curve, right? So, and with that show, they record 6 people, 6 teams on the same day. So usually go to a flea market, they give you a $500 budget, and then they give you 3 challenges, whatever it is. And we were the first team up on that day of recording. So when we got to the flea market, number one, it's huge. And number two, I had no time to pre-look. Like you think they've probably already really selected it all. And then you have 1 hour to shop. Well, 1 hour to shop sounds not too bad, right? Like even that sounds a little stressful for 3 challenges on national television.
Yeah.
But then the recording during that. So when you record a 1 hour, it's like 10 minutes because you have to say like, oh, I'll take it. And then shake someone's hand and then do it from another angle and then B-roll and then picking up the trunk 12 times at different angles. And so I'm like, shoot. I'm not ready for that. Like, oh, and I had said, I'm not buying a trunk. Like everyone buys a trunk. That's everyone's easy way out. I ended up buying a trunk. I'm like, of course I did.
Of course you did.
But
that's amazing.
We did something creative with it that most people don't do. But then the build day, it's a whole different day, and it was in Connecticut, and we went from like I think it was 6 a.m. till really late that night. I think we didn't get home till midnight. And that day was very fulfilling for me in the sense that I felt like it really showcased that we know what we're doing. Like we gave up some of our team members to help the other opponents because we didn't really need, like, we're like, we can do this. We do this on our own all the time, you know?
Incredible.
And that felt good and fun. I don't like to talk smack about people. That is not my jam. And that's what they want you to do on the show, you know? So that was a little like, they kept being like, Sarah, say this. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I hope they win. Like, I can't say I don't hope they win, you know? But my husband had no problem with it. So he was well featured, let's say. And then the final day was the hardest day for me because I'm not salesy at all.
Oh,
like,
yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, not my jam. And I was on my way to New York City. We sold at the Long Island City Flea, which is in Queens, I think. Queens?
Yeah.
Brooklyn? I can't remember. And on the way down, I'm like, ugh, what if no one buys this? This is what I do for a living. Like the people, our opponents, they just like do it for fun, but I can't fail on national television. Like this is so embarrassing. And I called my brother and he was like, Sarah, you're going to tell the story of every piece and you're going to explain why everything is unique and special. And even if it doesn't sell, you've won the show. Like you're the storyteller. And so I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go into this like, I'm sharing the story of why we recycled something, why something has been given new life. And that's what I did. I shared all about every piece, and then we ended up winning. So it was really such a sweet experience. And we took the money because we were so low on income because we had just started a business.
Sure.
We took the money from winning that and we actually opened a storefront in our town. And that was such a pivotal moment for our business. We don't have it now, but we did for 6 years. And that was a game changer in business for us.
I love that. And I'm thinking back to like 2012. Yes, social media was a thing, but like what a great form of visibility and being able to connect. And I'm sure it was nice to get it out of your home and all of the
Yes.
things. I want to circle back to the sales day. First of all, that experience sounds so wild and it's so fun to get behind the scenes. So thank you for
It really
sharing.
was. Yeah.
I can't imagine. That's really funny that they're like, now the trunk from this angle and now the trunk from this angle. But then they're like, now talk some shit and go sell it.
Exactly.
um, but I love that you stay true to yourself. Let that be a lesson for all of us ladies, to continue to rising tides raise, or what is it? Rising tides raise all boats. So continue to be good and put the good out there. But I just did one of the offerings that I have in my business is that I do monthly community webinars. And this last week's February's was around pricing for profitability and really was more about like the emotional roadblocks that we get and when it comes to actually pricing what we've produced and then having to go sell it. For women, it's just like, for many women I should say, it's like, for me, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna hide in my sweater, please don't make me sell this. Like you've worked for months creating this beautiful piece of content or an actual produced piece of furniture, and then you're like, oh my god, now I have to price it and sell it. But I love that. And your brother sounds like a solid brother to have. That is just like, if you just tell the story and you connect with people, it's an invitation for a conversation. It isn't a demand. It isn't a must. It's not a take it or leave it. It's just a conversation. And I think that for all those women listening who still get the icks when it comes to selling, like put that in your pocket.
It's so true. It is like, and that has been such a, core value of our business is the storytelling piece of why we do what we do, the story behind the pieces that get redone or the spaces or, now that I primarily do design, it's the same thing. Like I'm understanding clients and hearing their stories and helping their home reflect the things that, the stories shared or the moments that they want to remember or the feelings that they want to have in their space. It's more about that than it is like, wow, that's pretty.
Yeah. And that just like connection is really like so core to who we are as humans. And I think that translates in everything from our personal lives to our business life for sure. One of my favorite quotes that I saw on your social media was that you're not just managing cash flow, you're stewarding a calling.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about how you sort of run and operate your business with that mindset? I think, um, so many of us, it is very important to be profitable. Like if we aren't
Yeah.
able to be profitable, then our business becomes draining, which is heartbreaking because it came from a place of love. But like, we had talked about in pre-roll, sort of we have recalibration moments and we have
Yeah.
big decision moments. And what's your philosophy in running a business?
Yeah, I think for me, I can't speak to every entrepreneur, but for me, the recalibration yearly is really important to
Mm,
understand, you know, getting quiet and understanding where you're feeling called to for the next year. And it could be the same year over year. I'm not saying it
yeah.
changes every year, but and our priorities actually our priorities when we look at our calendar, or is it just in our head? Like, are we just saying family's a priority and then I'm never with my kids, or
Yeah.
marriage is a priority, but I don't do the hard work that I need to actually be the right partner. And I'm saying this from it's hard work. Like none of this
Totally.
is simple, easy, but even the calling of the business. So like I took some time away from, I have to get away from everything to really recalibrate. I cannot. I just literally 2 weeks ago went to a cabin in the woods for 3 days by myself to kind of recalibrate and pray and fast and that's where clarity comes for me. And I think small business owners tend to just get so busy that we don't take that time and say, God, where are you leading us? Or, where in my heart do I know I'm supposed to go with this? And so, like this year, I tried to have really good clarity on where I felt like the year was supposed to go business wise. And then I met with my team and said, hey, this is where I feel like we're supposed to go, because your own clarity doesn't matter too much if you have a team,
Hmm.
because you can think you're creating this beautiful thing, and if your team isn't on the same page, like that's something I've learned over the last probably 3 years, is how do I communicate where we're going so we're all going in the same direction, right?
I
So
love that.
that's kind of, we started the year with a team meeting where everybody got to hear, like, here's where we're going, here's how all the pieces fit together. You might be doing photography, but why does that matter based on our vision for the year? You might be an admin assistant or a design assistant, but how does this direction affect your role? And we talk through that. We walk through like, what does that mean? Collaboration and community. What does that mean? So when I sit down with a design client, it may be collaboration and do they own a business and how can we support them back? Or it may be community, like how are we building spaces that creates a space that they want to invite people into? Because one of the core things of this year I thought was the importance of helping build community for people, because I do think that the world is going to change a lot in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah. And if we don't have our community, it's going to be so much harder on people. So people may just look at design as like, oh, we're creating pretty things. I don't at all. I'm creating spaces that builds community and ushers in peace and, is a place that someone wants to go home to at the end of the day, not because of how much we spent on it, but because of the energy and feeling that you have when you're in it. So that all funnels from like core values and plans for the year. And I want all of our team, as they're sitting with people, to think of those things. I don't want them just to say, oh, what's the prettiest chandelier, even though that's part of it. And I get that, so that's kind of how I take a lot of time to pray and meditate. And even last year, in those moments where I felt called to write a book and to bring back my artwork, which I haven't done since I was before Fun Cycled. I used to paint, and I had paintings in a gallery, and I hadn't done it in years. Like most of my friends didn't even know I could paint, and I just felt called to it. And it opened so many doors this year. Like I'm in 2 stores now, and things have sold online. Like it's just been so beautiful, and so things I didn't even expect. I thought no one would buy my artwork, if I'm being honest, but I still felt like I'm supposed to do it. And same thing with the book. I'm like, I don't know, who needs another book? Like nobody needs books. Everybody's writing a book. But when it came to me, like the content and the reason behind it, it all just it just flowed so easily and has opened up so many opportunities. And so many people like have said, I read it and I just couldn't stop crying. Like it was so beautiful. I'm like, what? You read it first of all? Like I thought no one would read that. And so I was at church last Sunday, and a 19-year-old boy who never talks to me came up. He's like, my mom has your book. I said, oh, she does? He goes, yeah. And I read through the whole thing this week. I'm like, you did? He's like, it was amazing. I'm like, a 19-year-old boy read my book and thought it was amazing and came up to me to say that, who never really talks to me. Like,
right? That was not on the bingo card.
Yeah, just the sweetest moments. So God. I think in those moments, if we're listening, it'll lead us to, so many beautiful opportunities. And they'll look different for everybody. But even if you're following and it leads to nothing, it's still a beautiful opportunity because you're doing your calling.
Absolutely. One of the things that feels like a common theme in what you were saying is that you really ground your business in how you want to feel, and then you're able to translate into how to show up in business. And I think that is so critical. That was a big transformational moment for me. And what I really encourage other female entrepreneurs to do as well is, how do you want to feel each day running this business? How do you want to feel putting your work out into the world? It's so like, yes, of course you want it to be successful and big and bold and bright and make all this difference and sell all these books and do all these widgets and all the things. But the most important, the thing that will keep you showing up day after day, because as you mentioned, it's, this is hard work, is attaching your day to a feeling, not an outcome. I mean, yes, there are many things to do and there are things on the to-do list and the calendar is full, but I love, and it seems like this is kind of how you operate as well, is like, and even as you translate it to your team, like we have purpose. These are our core values. These are the way that they should feel within our company and how we want our clients to feel as we go into design. And like, those are kind of like the guideposts for how you make decisions, how you show up, how you just kind of own and operate. And I think that is such an incredible example. If you're building your dream business and you know you need to build an email list, but the idea of picking and using an email platform totally overwhelms you, trust me, I get it. But I've got you, girl. Flowdesk is where it's at. Flowdesk is the email marketing platform designed with female entrepreneurs in mind. Think gorgeous, on-brand templates plus powerful workflows that save you hours. I promise you, I've never used an easier email platform with such stunning results. Whether you're sending an email launching a new offer or podcast episode, sharing new news, or trying out a fancy workflow to convert a new email subscriber into a paying customer, Flowdesk helps you show up professionally with ease without spending a ton of time or money. And not to mention, these emails are gorgeous. And because you're a Write Your Own Story podcast listener, you get an exclusive 50% off your first year of Flowdesk. Plus, they'll send you $19 cash back when you join using the link in the show notes. So if you're ready to send stunning emails that convert and actually enjoy the process, click the link in the show notes and give Flowdesk a try. That's 50% off your first year plus $19 back in your pocket. Check out Flowdesk today. It's like your super talented email writing best friend. I promise you won't regret it. Now, back to the episode.
Can I speak to the woman who's maybe in an entrepreneurial setting and doesn't feel like the balance is there? Because
Please.
We've all been there, right? Like we've all been through seasons where the feeling is that, what the heck? Why did I start a business? Like life is not going. I did this. This is going to sound nerdy and not sexy, but it's helpful. I did this pie chart last year, and
pie charts
I'm
are
sure
hot.
if you you're right. But I'm sure if you Google it, you can find it out there. But it basically had like all different slices of the pie as part of your life. And it was everything from like, it wasn't just like work, home, whatever. It was like romance. What time do I take for romance? Spirituality, physical, like working out, or one would be like educating, like furthering my mind. Yeah. And it's this whole chart. And then zero, the center would be 0, like if I gave myself no time for it. And the outer side of it would be 10, like it gets a good balanced amount of my time. So I did that for every area of my life. And then I connected the dots. And it was just such a visual of like what things were misbalanced in my life. And so sometimes in small business, we have to go, wow, like I need this picture of what's not getting enough time, whether is it time romantically with my husband? Is it time with my kids? Is it time for myself? Like a lot of us, that's the problem. And we think that's not an option, right? But that's just an excuse. Like there always is an option to make time for you. It just might mean you get up a little bit earlier and you go to bed a little earlier, or it might mean you have to ask for help. And that's what community is for. And we don't want to do that because we love to do everything ourselves because we're women. But that, but I was very convicted in looking at that, how little my health was in part of that circle. Like I really gave it almost no time at all. And I made a huge pivot in my life last year, and I've like started going to the gym, eating healthy, taking care of myself. I lost 100 pounds, and it was all like but it was like so important to me that we balance these numbers out. So like what's at a 10 that needs to maybe scale back a little to a 7 to give me margin for my health? Like, are my friends getting too much time? And that means I don't get any time for my health. Like those were the things I had to actually say. And so I would say self-inventory and do the less sexy thing to go, hey, what needs to pivot? But I would make excuses and say, I'm so busy in business, there's no way I can. Well, now I say I don't take meetings before 10. If I can't get to the gym, I'm not the well-balanced person I want to be. I'm not healthy. I won't be here for my kids in 20 years. Like long-term goals and long-term analysis help us make better short-term decisions, but we have to be mindful of it and we have to be looking for it. And I'm not saying that as a judgment because it took me, 10 years in business to even consider that. But totally now, it's just a priority for me. And so if I can't make a business make money in the time that allows me to have a healthy life, then I have to do something else for a living. It won't be this.
I love that so much. I'm a Jay Shetty certified coach, that I wanted to add sort of more spirituality and more structure to the coaching practice that I do for business. And they have something very similar, what's called a wheel of life. And it comes with all the categories. And you kind of, to your same thing, you mark where you want to be, but then also you mark like where you want to be. So maybe friendships, you're like, I'm at a 5, but it's a well-oiled machine and I'm good with it there. And it was just kind of like, you feel like you have to be a 10 at everything.
Right.
And you get to this opportunity to check in with yourself and be like, is that really the priority for me right now? Or am I good being a 5 on, I don't know, time for spirituality or whatever any of the buckets are. And then that way you can kind of make some informed choices to be like, these are all operating at a stable, I'm good with these scores. But this, to your point, health is where I really want to dial in. So then your efforts become focused, because I feel like women, we just spread ourselves so thin and want to be great at everything and feel like we need to be great at everything. When it gives you the opportunity to visualize that, like, some things are going great. Some things are going great. We lose sight of that so easily, don't you think?
100%. 100%. It's so important to have those checks, and also, like, I keep coming back to community, but it's like having people in your world that help you see those things and keep you accountable for those things. Like, I'm in a business growth group, and I think it's great if people do coaching, like call her and do some coaching, because what you're going to find, the biggest catalyst to growth in your business is accountability. And whether it's coach, I mean, I do monthly accountability groups through this place called EO, but that's what we say. Like, even if it's just 1% in the right direction, that's more than most business owners are doing, because so many are just spinning their wheels, trying to keep up with the same thing. And it challenges me every month, where I'm like, shoot, I was supposed to do this, this, and this. I have to get this done. And I do it. Like, I make it happen. And so many things have changed in my business in the last 2 years because of that accountability.
I love that so much. I couldn't agree more. I like one of the friends that I made in the coaching program, like, we just meet weekly or bi-weekly to make sure that we're keeping each other accountable and checking in, just because it really does move the needle. I think that's an excellent point.
Move the needle. That's what we always say. And I forgot the phrase.
We are best friends. I want to circle back to, you had mentioned that, when you sat down and you felt called to write the book, you felt called to do the painting. What is your advice to women who, there's this, I hate the word balance, but I can't think of another word, so here we go. You want a structured and simple enough business that you are continuing to execute on the thing that you felt called to do, but flexible enough that you can explore tangential things that serve your business and serve you. Like, how do you know when you are, like, opening too many doors, and I love this because it served your business so well, versus I just need to continue to have faith and sit and keep doing the thing that I'm doing until it hits?
That's such a hard question to answer.
I know,
because
it's an impossible question. Good luck.
Yeah. It's such an entrepreneurial curse, right? Like, we have so many, on a weekly basis, I would say, I get opportunities for everything from, like, open a coffee shop with me, be on this TV show, do this, and so I'm constantly like, the older I get, the more I try to stay focused in certain lanes, but I'm always open to other things too. So I'm not saying I'm, like, the best at this, but I can say I lean heavily into things I'm passionate about, because I find I burn out less if I'm doing things that I love to death. So, like, I do travel blogging, and it's kind of annoying, right? Because you travel and you have to take the time to do all the pictures and reviews. So you're kind of on, and sometimes I try to do 1 or 2 trips a year that I'm not travel blogging, because I really want to check out and reset my mind. But generally, I travel blog almost everything I do. And that serves me because it serves a huge creative fill for me, time with my family. And so I do that, even though it's outside of design. So people will be like, why are you travel blogging? And I'm like, well, because I love travel. Last night, my husband and I were doing question cards, and one of the questions that came up was like, what would you say is probably the best job in the whole world, like, that you could ever have? I'm like, travel blogging. Like, if I could just travel, see beautiful things, and get paid to do it, like, so I always have that be part of it. And that's the beauty of small business too. It's like entrepreneurship. You can integrate things that you're really passionate about. It doesn't have to be just one or the other. But then there's other things in business over the years where I'm like, oh, I tried it. And, like, home staging, for instance, I did home staging for a while. I hated it. It is not my thing. I think that's a totally different business. And I still don't regret that I tried it.
Totally.
But it's like, you just have to be open to, a no doesn't mean anything's wrong at all. If anything, that sometimes means the best yes, because you've learned what you do and don't like, and you've learned yourself, and you've learned something in the process. So I oftentimes see entrepreneurs get disappointed when something's a no, whether it's outside of their decision making and they really just can't keep it moving forward. But if we take those no's with the right approach, I think it can be actually life-giving. It's all a mindset.
You are speaking my language. I have learned to love closed doors because it's
Yeah.
like, great, thank you. I can move to another direction now. And
Yes.
like, the quickest way to learn is to fail. And so I think,
Yeah.
again, as you had mentioned more towards the top of the show, like we get caught in this perfectionist cycle where it's like sometimes you just have to take the next step forward and do the next right thing and fully accept like the fumbles and the falls and the failures, because that is, as we know, it's a huge part of life and it is most definitely going to be part of your business.
Yeah. And I also want to say something about something I said earlier. Even though I
Sure.
made enough to quit my job after 4 months, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say we were a profitable, smooth flowing business for 5 years. So, like, don't hear my story and get discouraged if you're like, oh, it's only 4 months in and look what she did this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I did that, but it had to become a sustainable business for a long
Mhm.
time before it was like I had any money for savings or anything like that. So, 5 years for us was more of the rhythm of like, okay, there's a steadiness.
I love you for saying that. And that I think is such a important distinction. To like, sales feel amazing and we get all the sales, but there's so much to work out on the back end in terms of systems and operating and all this stuff that like there's a lot of ironing that's happening in the background to iron out the kinks to really get to that, like, not only profitability, but to your point, are you operating in a way that serves you as a person, serves your greater goal of how you want to run your life, et cetera, till you're like 5 years in, you're like, okay. And don't you feel like how many like micro fails or whoopsies or wrong turns or did that wrongs did you have in those first 5 years that make you
So
so
many.
good at running your business?
So many. One of the hardest challenges at the beginning was working with my spouse, right?
Oh, I can
Hardest
only imagine.
hardest thing to date that I have ever done. I'm pretty sure I've done some hard things, but is working together consistently. It is hard on your marriage. It's the most
Sure.
sanctifying work in the sense that, like, your spouse is not, you don't pay them,
Yeah.
so they're going to say exactly what you need to hear. And um, but it's something that, like, now it's so much different than at the beginning. Like, we have learned so much, and it was hard, but yeah, yeah. So those first few years, it's going to be so many hard things. I always say it's like walking up to a wall and then figure out how do we get over that wall, and then you walk to the next one and it's taller, and it's like, shoot, now we have to build a ladder to get up that one. And so small business can feel like that, one wall after another, but it's like that pursuit through and over those hard moments that's like more than a college education can give you, because you learn so much through it.
You sure do. You're like, well, actually, now I know how to build the ladder. Like, yeah, I got
Exactly.
it. And okay, fine. I got to build it a little taller, but I learned how to build the ladder on the last one. So, like, okay, here we go. Here we go. And like, it's like a deep stretch,
Yeah.
big breath.
It's true. It's true.
But
And you being
here
in
we
the
go.
coaching world probably say this all the time, but it's that no one had told me this philosophy, even though I kind of understood it. But in the last 3 years, going through the EO program, it was basically like the idea of people who are fixed mindset and growth mindset. And I'm sure you
Mm.
talk about this a lot,
Well,
but
sure. But keep going. I love this.
well, I've just loved to learn from what it looks like to be fixed mindset. And I talk about that a lot with my staff even now. It's,
Mm.
don't come to me with just a problem, come to me with a problem and three solutions. Because number one, you're probably going to think of a better solution than me. You do it all the time.
Mm.
And number two, if you don't, then I know you've done the mental load of trying, and I'll help you like step into maybe a couple other ideas. And so if you want to be a game changer in business, you have to be growth mindset. It cannot be like, oh, this is what we've always done. Especially as AI is going to change the world, we have to
Mm.
get past this idea that what we've once done is what will always be. It's this, how am I growing as things change? How am I emotionally sound, stable, spiritually sound, stable? And then how do I pivot as the world changes? And so, yeah, I'm all on, like, I look for growth minded people as friends, as mentors, as spiritual leaders. Like, if you're fixed and black and white and only certain, like, like, I love you, but I
Right.
don't look to you for growth,
Yeah.
for understanding growth. So that is a game change. That has been a game changer for me in my life.
I love that so much. And I think everyone right now is like aggressively nodding, being like, yes, come to me with solutions. Please just stop telling me everything that is wrong. Like, also, what a
Yeah,
great message to send to our kids when they're just like, Ma, it's like, okay, what are some solutions? Like, let's walk through it. I think it
so true.
translates to all aspects of life. I love that very, very much. I have to tell you, I'm literally obsessed with my Aura Ring 4. Honestly, my Apple Watch was way too much noise for me. Stand up, sit down, you have a meeting, you're late, your steps are low, breathe, all the things. But this little ring has been an absolute game changer. It doesn't just track my sleep, it helps me actually rest better. Every morning, I get insights into my recovery, my readiness for the day, and whether my body needs more downtime. It even tracks my steps, my cycle, and literally so much more. If you're someone who loves data, cares about your health, and also loves cute jewelry, this ring is for you. This is a gentle reminder, backed by science, that rest is just as important as hustle. Unlock this powerful tool for better sleep, less stress, and smarter recovery with Aura Ring 4. Use my link in the show notes to get 10% off your Aura Ring today. You know, you've mentioned your team several times, and like, I love a good team. Can you talk to me about when you and your husband hit that moment where you're like, okay, I think we need to invest in support? And I love that one. And I love that you mentioned one of your big filters for hiring is, do you have a growth mindset? Can we just talk about a little bit about building that support team?
Yeah, sure. So, and it's flexed over the years. It's very different now than even what it was a year ago. But so for the first initial hire, it was actually when we won Flea Market Flip and had a storefront, I cannot run a storefront is what I learned because I'm too people focused. I'm not, I don't know if you've ever read Enneagram things, but I'm a 2 on the Enneagram. So I'm all about the people and feelings. And so if people come in, I just talk the whole day. And then I'm like, now I have to work all night. Like, this isn't going to work. So I had to bring in a store manager to run it for me. So I could go to design jobs and I could paint the furniture and I could do all the things. And she was amazing. Worked for me 7 years. I still love her to death. Like, she's just part of my heart. But so she was a huge part of our team and very growth mindset. And she was always like, Sarah, God has got big things for you. I don't know what it is, but like, you just wait. Cool. This is nothing compared to what's ahead. And I still don't know if I believe her exactly, but she's like got big faith in me. And so then, and with my husband coming on, I distinctly remember the day we were delivering furniture to Saratoga. And it was one of those hutches that don't come apart. So it's huge.
Oh my God.
And we get to this house to deliver furniture, and I have to carry that stupid china cabinet up 3 flights of outdoor metal stairs in the hailstorm.
Of course.
Nothing like what the hail. But we get it in there. I was furious. I'm like, I'm going to fall. I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to hurt someone else. I'm going to break this piece of furniture that I can't replace because it's an antique. And so we get it all the way up there. I get in the car and I was like, I'm done doing deliveries. I will never do one again. And John's like, what? My husband, he's like, well, how am I supposed to do it? I'm like, we have to figure it out. We have to bring on staff. We have to hire a delivery. This is dumb. This is dumb work in the sense of, if I hurt myself, the whole system stops. So like, this cannot happen. I cannot keep doing this. And that's what it was. And we hired someone to start working with him for furniture delivery, kitchen remodels, and then expanded that team a bit more over the years. And it's basically like, if I get to a 3 to 6 month wait for any of our services, that's kind of my flag for it's time to bring another important person on.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because you start losing business when there's more than a 3 month wait, I find, at least like in our industry. Yeah. And then right now I have it a little structured differently. And I have the second scariest position was I brought on an assistant. And I had never had someone that many hours, and specifically just for me. But if you've ever read the book Buy Back Your Time, have you ever read that?
No.
Oh my gosh, I think it's like one of the best business growth books I've ever read because it's very practical. Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
And he talks about the importance of getting a assistant to then buy back your own time. And it goes all the way into like, how do you set up the inbox? How do you set up your calendar so they can see it? It's very, very practical. But that was a game changer because then we could next level so many things. We could have, my assistant is the opposite of me on almost every level. Like, she is very logistical. She is very like meticulous and careful. And I'm this creative and I have to do the work of like, not telling her too much because I would overwhelm her. I'd watch her face be like, how am I logistically going to do all these things for you? And so I had to learn as a with coaching, actually, we brought in a coach for that to basically help me manage and see the broccoli in my own teeth. Like, how do I lead people with different personalities in a way that makes the team flow smoothly? And she's been with me now 2 years. She's amazing. Couldn't do it without her. But, and then I kind of ended up subbing out a lot, like subbing out my accounting, subbing out my design assistant work, and letting people kind of specialize, subbing out my photography. And so my team is smaller than it's been in the past, but I want to grow it more again. Like, we're getting to that point where I'm feeling the push to, I need to probably bring a few more people on, but I've been just trying to be cautious and careful with the economy.
Oh,
And
without a
how we
doubt.
do everything. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What I love is that I've heard you hire people who are better at you in certain areas. I love hiring people who are better at me at things. I'm like,
Yes.
please, accounting, forget about it. No one
Yeah.
wants me in their books. I can girl math my way through business, no problem. But like
Yeah.
when it comes to tax time, like, no, thank you. I also have an assistant. Bless
Right.
them and their ability to take all of the swirl that I put in the world and put it into a beautifully organized, produced way of living.
Yes,
um,
exactly.
and I think that that's so important. I think it's always so important to hire someone who is better at you in areas that rub for you, right? Like in
Yes.
delivery. Like I think that's another great point is that areas that are a constant rub or a constant source of tension or a constant energy drain, if it really truly is constant, hire, like make the plans. And there are a million ways to do this, especially if you're just getting started. You could trade services, you can get creative, like if, money is short, there are certainly ways to be creative. Um, but I think that that is so important. I love you for also taking a broader step back and being like, how do I, now that I have these wonderful, amazing, inspiring people who are helping me build the thing that I love, how do I be a better manager for them? How do I grow in this kind of area? The other thing that I want to point out is that it seems to be that you've protected what you feel called to do and what you love to do. At the end of the day, you're like, this is my sweet spot, my specialty. This is why we're here. So I need to protect that with wild abandon. And the rest is all important, but may not necessarily be for you to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that is how I can have the energy to continue in a creative role. That's one thing
Mm-hmm.
I've learned over the years. Like, I can do account. I used to do accounting for other businesses. I can
Mm-hmm.
do photography. I used to do all our own photography. I can do the
Mm-hmm.
videos. I can do social media. But it's like, what is my best yes? How do I stay filled up creatively? And that is to offload the things that don't fill me up creatively.
Mm.
And I am a people person. So as an extrovert, if I could go to 5 interior design consults a day and get to the end energized, where anybody else that I've brought on staff, if I put that kind of workload from a peopling perspective, they would be like, "Ugh, deer in the
Yeah.
headlights, like, don't make me go see another person. So I know, hey, that's my strength. My strength is peopling. I love learning people. I love understanding personality types. I love walking. I always say design is more psychology than it is design, because you're
Oh,
walking
that's
people
cool.
through like so many hard moments of their life, or the
Mm-hmm.
husband wants one thing, the wife wants another, or someone just got a divorce, or they just had a
Mm-hmm.
baby, or and so it's often more listening and learning and creating in that way too, which is emotional moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people on staff, if I put them in, I brought one of my design assistants to a meeting the other day, and I said, listen, you're going to be overwhelmed. Like, his personality is something that's going to overwhelm you probably. But like, I need you to push through. Like, this is going to be one of those, I just need you by my side to make notes. We're going to be all over the place, and trust that I've got it. I just write down everything I say, basically.
Yeah.
And we got to the end. She goes, never. I can't ever do what you did. I will never do that. Don't ever put me in that spot alone. I'm like, I know, I know. I won't put you there, but I just need you to be alongside me in it. So, yeah, learning your team and loving them well, I think, is really important. It's important to me.
Learning your team and loving them well. What a soundbite. That's incredible. And I mean, again, like to your point, like we are all humans doing the humaning. And like, yes, at the end of the day, we need someone to help us with like actual tangible things, but to treat each other as such and to learn what their strengths are and to pull those out is such a gift for them. And as you were saying, back to your energy, it's like such an incredible energy exchange that just fuels the business.
Totally.
You were just like an absolute dream to talk to. I know that we are getting close to the end of our show, but what can people like if they just love your energy and they want to know more about Fun Cycle and they want to see more about what you're up to? Tell us how you like to show up in the world for everyone to consume.
Yeah, so I do a weekly blog that I try to have a good balance of helpful, knowledgeable, but also uplifting. So on our website, funcycle.com, if you go to blog, you can sign up for that weekly. I don't spam you. You're not going to get something from me every day, but it's just a little bit of something I like to put into the world that's free. And then on our social media, we are on social Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and same thing. Like it's just a lot of creative moments, good quotes, things that I hope would either inspire, encourage people. And so if they want to follow me there, as far as design services, we have virtual or in person, so they can go on our website and book an hour, even if they're in Canada. You know, it doesn't matter.
Nice,
So
amazing.
happy to help people that way too.
And can you tell us about the book? Now I'm so inspired
Sure.
after this 19-year-old boy.
Yeah, it's called Created to Create, and it's kind of my responses from a question I get sometimes, which is why do I help people do something that's vain? Like people would say, it's just making things pretty. None of that lasts. Why does that matter? And I say, actually, it's way more than that. And
Yeah.
how do we talk through what it means to create because we are created? Beauty in this world is not something that's frivolous. And how does that affect our spirit, our emotions, and the neuroscience behind design research that's been done? And then at the end of each chapter, it's kind of like a little faith moment and then a little practical, like what can we do in our space, whether it's something small or grand? How can we take this design principle and make changes in our homes that helps us feel more peace or creates little sanctuaries within our spaces and and then I share some of our transformations, and it's a short read. It's 64 pages, and but that's on Amazon. It's Created to Create, and you probably want to put my name, Sarah Trop, as well. I think that would make it come up a little bit easier for you. But yeah, so it's been such a beautiful experience watching people like cry over it. So
I think
beautiful.
that's incredible. I think it sounds like an excellent read.
Thanks.
What is on the horizon that you're excited about?
Oh, so many things. I mean, I feel like, entrepreneurship. I would say right
Mm,
now, the expansion design services has been growing and growing, and I'm building the team under me to kind of work through how can I be front facing for clients, but also keep up with the workload that I've been doing. So that's
yeah.
been exciting. And artwork, I'm now in Jean Stouffer from Established Home. I'm in her store out in Michigan. I'm in a store here called Sand Lake Merchant with my art. And so that's been beautiful. And I'm in talks right now with a wallpaper company where I'm going to have hopefully my own line of historical patterns that I create with their graphic design team. So that should be coming soon. I don't have the exact launch date yet, but that's kind of what's
Yeah.
in the mix right now.
God, what an incredible thing.
Yeah, so fun.
Wallpaper. I like that. This is incredible. I love that your gift for creating and for, to your point, transforming spaces really from a sake of energy and feeling and peace and meeting people and understanding people like really truly translates in who you like just who you are as a person and how you show up in the world. And I think it's such a wonderful example of being true to yourself, and being really in tune with yourself and trusting yourself and believing in yourself, and putting that out into the world and enjoying the beautiful impact that you get to make, but also enjoying the self-fulfilling aspect of it as well. That's what keeps you creating, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, thank you for those kind words.
Mm.
I appreciate that. And I feel the same things back to from you. Like I can feel your energy even through a screen. It's just beautiful. And I can tell you're doing what you love.
Thank you. I truly am. Like I said before we started recording, like each week I'm like, wait, really? I get to do it again. I get to talk to an incredible woman that just like fills my cup and inspires me in a way. And I don't know, it's just, it feels like such a gift that I keep being like, is this real? Are we still, is it really still happening? This is really still
Yeah,
happening. So I feel so blessed. So thank you for
love
saying
that.
that.
Yeah.
For the woman listening who feels like she's got something stirred inside of her, where something in her that stirred creatively, but she's afraid to start, what would you tell her?
It's a no if you don't start. Just give it a go.
Woo!
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Oh, that's incredible. Sarah, thank you. You have been such a gift to talk to this morning. I can't wait to go consume all of the good things that you are putting out into this world. Thank you for being such a wonderful spirit and for creating such beautiful spaces. You guys absolutely go check her out. If you could just hit one more time, where can we find you on Instagram and your website? That would be wonderful.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Such a gift. I love being here. You can find me on any social media platform, Funcycled. So it's FUNCYCLED. And that's also my website, funcycle.com. So they can go to either of those places and see it or watch us on any of those shows.
Incredible. Awesome. Sarah, thank you again. Everyone, please share this episode for anyone who has a dream on their heart, who is in the midst of it or is afraid to jump. But the more we share this, the more we encourage people to go after what they really feel called to do, which is such a gift to the world. And I think that it is such a great example of how you can run a business with integrity and grace and, embrace the messy middle and all the things that running a business is. So thank you again, Sarah. And thank you everyone for listening. We'll catch you next time. Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you and you've totally got this.